Allah is the one, the one, the one, the one.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Summa salatu wassalam ala nabina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Wa ala kulli man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin. Wa ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, today we aim to bring a reminder, calling upon our intellect, calling upon our capacity of reasoning. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in many places in the Qur'an, addressing the people who reflect, people who observe, people who ponder, people who analyze, and people who see. So the reminder today, inshallah, is about the current situation in which we find ourselves as human beings. It brings us to reflect upon our surrounding, about ourselves, about our purpose, about us being on this planet, on this earth, and calling upon our intellect to reconnect or reroute ourselves back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using the current situation. So we read the Quran, as I mentioned, in many places Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling upon our intellect. For example, in the second ayat of Surah Al-Hasr, Allah is telling us to learn a lesson. Then you who are endowed with vision, with insight. He said, فَأَتَبِرُوا يَا أُولِي الْأَبْصَارِ فَأَتَبِرُوا يَا أُولِي الْأَبْصَارِ. Meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling on the intellect of human being to think, to reflect. When we look at our own situation today, it doesn't matter whether you are in self-isolation, whether you are in quarantine, or you are forced in a lockdown. In any situation, it brings you to disconnect from your routine, from what you used to do, and come back to a new situation, a new set of environment where you are forced to start reflecting. You are endowed with analysis. This situation is not new. Many at a time in the past, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring people to disconnect and start thinking about their purpose. So Allah brings about some serious tests, calamities, some trials, some hardship, and sometimes ease for some people to see how they react to the blessing Allah has bestowed upon them. But sometimes also these trials, they are the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us, human beings, to go back to Him. So as we said, whether we are in any of these three situations, I think, brother, you know the difference between being in self-isolation, being in quarantine, or in lockdown. So in any of these situations, we are brought to think about our purpose. So we will use some ayat from the Quran, inshallah, to illustrate or to help us achieve this reflection. In Surah Ibrahim, which is chapter 14 of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the stories of people who disbelieve or they continuously transgress his bonds. The limit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set for them, they continuously transgress until Allah sees them with his punishment. He said in that it is a lesson, is a warning to mankind to take lesson from. He said in the Quran, هَذَا بَلَاهٌ لِلنَّاسِ وَلِيُدَبَّرُوا بِهِ وَلِيَعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا هُوَ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ لِيَذَّكَّرُوا لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. He said, this is a proclamation for mankind so that they may be warned thereby and know that he is the one and only one whose possess, the one and only one. And those who possess intellect, let them take heed from this. So the purpose of telling the story of these previous nations for us is that we will learn their mistakes. We will learn from their failure. So we will use our intellect, our reasoning. We reflect upon that so that we don't commit the same mistake. And Allah mentioned this is هَذَا بَلَاهٌ لِلنَّاسِ. This is a proclamation, indeed a lesson for mankind. So with the help of 3 sets of stories in the Quran, inshallah, we aim to bring this to our attention, to start thinking, rerouting ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through repentance. The first is from the Quran, from Surah Al-Fatir. Surah Fatir, which is chapter 35 of the Quran, ayah 15. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that we are in need of Allah. He said, Ya ayyuhan nasu antumul fuqara. O mankind, you are the one in need, you stand in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Antumul fuqara ilallah. You are the one who is in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahu huwal ghaniyul hamid. Allah is free from any need and he is praiseworthy. When we start looking at this ayat, we will ask ourselves, is there any human being in our own situation today who is not in need of the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If we are able to bypass the needs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will not be in panic today. We will not be in such desperation, closing down everything. All countries or majority of the countries around the world closing their borders, grounding their airlines, stopping almost all economic activities. What is that? It's to show the weakness of human being and also to show the praiseworthiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is able to bring a very tiny virus to bring the whole world into standstill. So we can never see any human being who will affirm that he is not in need of Allah. Especially in our current time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is by himself free from any needs. He doesn't need anyone. That's why Allah said, Ya ayyuhan nas, calling upon all mankind without any distinction, whether is believer or disbeliever, male and female, powerful and weak one. Everyone today is looking for a solution. Everyone is trying to avoid contact with this tiny virus. Very tiny creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from which everyone is shielding himself from. Everyone is trying to avoid it. Why? Because we are weak and in need. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the mighty, is free from any needs. So it is reminding us that we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He doesn't need any one of us. And there is no power in our hands. There is no strength. There is no knowledge, no guidance by our own self except what Allah has blessed us with. Every one of us is weak and cannot do anything without the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone is misguided except the one whom Allah has guided. If we had the knowledge, we will just suddenly find the cure for this virus. We'll come up with a vaccine or whatever to solve the problem and bring back the world to a normal situation that we are used to. But no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by His will, He brings all the creation to a standstill. So it is a way to say that we are all misguided except the one that Allah has guided. When we recite Surah Al-Kahf, in one of the verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that you are indeed, whomsoever Allah guide is the one who has received guidance, whomsoever Allah leaves to go astray, and He is the one who will never find any guidance. So is to kind of acknowledge kullukum da'allun illa man hadaitahu. Every one of us is in misguidance except the one whom Allah has shown the way. So if we had the knowledge, as I mentioned, if we have any advanced mastery of technology or medicine by our own self, a tiny virus will not bring the whole world to a standstill. So what we say, whatever is happening right now is due to the fact that we are powerless. We are in need of an outside force, that is a mighty being which will put the world back into order where we want it to be. And this is only because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has released this by His own will, and He is the one who is able to put it back into control by guiding us to find the cure. Because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in an authentic narration that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not sent down any disease except that He also sent it cure. But where is the cure today? Who knows what is the solution to this virus that is bringing the entire world death, fear, and surrender? Nobody knows except when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide some of us to find a solution to it. So this is an affirmation of the mighty and power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He continued in the following ayat. He said, in yasha, if Allah wills, yuzhibukum wa yati khalqin jadid. If He wants, if He wills, He will wipe you out. He will wipe you out and bring about a new creation. Last presentation we talked about the mighty power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to being the creator, Al-Khaliq. And now He is telling us if He wants, if He wishes, He will wipe us out and replace us by a new creation. And He said, وَمَا ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ بِعَزِيزٍ. This is something not difficult for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not mighty for Allah. Wiping out all mankind and replacing them by a new creation is not something difficult for Allah. He can do it. Anybody in doubt today need to look at the number of people dying as a result of this coronavirus attacking countries. How much death it has brought about. If Allah wills, this tiny creation can cause the entire race of mankind to be wiped out. And He will replace it by a new creation. This is what Allah is telling us in the Quran in Surah Fatir. chapter 35 of the Quran from ayah 15 to 17. Interestingly, Allah mentioned in the following ayah number 18, He said, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَاجِرَةٌ وِجْرَ أُخْرَى. He said, nobody, no soul will bear the burden of another soul. What does it imply? It implies that we will return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will be held accountable for what we used to do. And on that day, nobody, it doesn't matter how powerful they were, how knowledgeable they were, how was their status in this life, they will not come forward and say, I will carry the sins or the burdens of another human being. In fact, we are told in the Quran that on that day, the people closest to us will run away from us. They will start avoiding you. Children will start avoiding their parents. Parents will start avoiding their children. Close friends and relatives will depart from each other. So this is to warn us that even though there is a warning, we should use this situation to reflect and reroute ourselves back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only few people who will use their intellect, who will reflect, they will go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we are told to reflect many times in the Quran. So we said the current global health crisis is a sufficient proof for anyone with think in mind that this is indeed something easy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is able to wipe out the entire humankind and replace it by a new creation if He wishes. And we don't see today the most powerful people in the globe saying, okay, I'm safe from this virus, and then they're not taking any protective measures. Everyone in power, or whether you are a leader or you are led, everyone is trying to take some precaution to avoid coming into contact with this virus. So you don't see all the arrogant people out there who call themselves super leaders. You don't see them coming forward and confronting the virus. Instead, everyone is suspecting anything and everything. The proof is you just cough outside. People start avoiding you like you, in anyhow, you cannot sneeze, you cannot cough. This is a proof that everybody is worried and fearing this tiny virus. So we say we can't stop death by the hundreds and thousands. If we were able to, we will not sit back and see all these people dying. You see in one country over 10,000 people dying. 10,000 people. This is not 10,000 currency unit. Is human lives. If human beings were able to stop that, for sure, leaders of these countries, top scientists, medical doctors, they will not sit by and watch these people dying. No human being, no responsible human being will sit back and let this happen if they are able to stop it. But it's beyond our control. So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, in Yasha, yujhibukum wa yati bi khalqin jadid. If He wanted, He will wipe you all out and replace you by a new creation. He said, وَمَا ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ بِعَزِيزٍ. This is something easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not something difficult. So we must admit, we must say we can't. We don't have enough control of our own lives. Someone else has. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is there to reflect upon this? Who is there to remember and know that at some point our advancement in medicine and technology and all field of knowledge will fail? We will turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why you see many countries around the world, leaders are coming forward to say, we are asking for prayers. For prayers. Because there is no other solution now. Yes, there is no other solution. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the creator, who controls everything, he is the one who put this virus under control and guide us to its cure. So we turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and remember him. Another set of ayat we find in the Quran in Surah Al-Qasas. Surah Al-Qasas is chapter 28 of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us in some set of ayat, set of verses, that وَهُوَ اللَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ. He said he is the one. There is no deity except him. Lahul hamd. To him belong all praise. Fil ula, in this dunya, wal akhirah, and in the hereafter. Walahul hukmu wa ilayhi turja'un. He said to him belong the decision. The ultimate decision belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to him we will return. Is there any human being now on the surface of the earth who can deny this? Who can challenge this? No. Wallahi, there is nobody who can come and say, no, they have the answer to these things. In the following ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even raised the challenge. It's kind of when he mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah before, saying that walam tafalu. He said, certainly if you cannot do, surely you cannot do. It's a challenge that nobody can meet. What is the challenge? He said, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, if he wills, he make for you the night continuously. There is no more day. When there is night, the night continue. There is no stop. Who is there as a Lord to change it and make you another day? This is a challenge. When you are reasoning, you are talking to some people who will deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just ask them this very simple question. If the night falls and it continuously to be night, who is there to change it to be night and day, or only day? Allah is asking this question. And then he continued in the following ayat. He said, have you considered that if Allah should make for you the day continuously until the day of judgment, what deity other than Allah could bring you a night in which you may rest? Because we know the alternation of the day and the night serve us to get some rest. It serves us to get some rest. Then Allah is ending the ayat. They say, then will you not see? Will you not see? Asking, are you not using your eyes to see when it's night, that you cannot change the night into day? Or when it's day, can you not change the day into night? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only is able to do so. So we render all praise back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the only one who can change the day into night. If anybody is so rude and arrogant, they can never meet this challenge. Just like Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, when he was talking to this tyrant ruler, when he told him that my Lord, Allah, my Creator, is the one who brings the people into life, the dead into life, or the people who are alive to death. And this arrogant ruler himself affirmed, yes, I can do that as well. But then Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, using the ultimate, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him, he asked this tyrant ruler, he said, my Lord is the one who brings the sun from the east to the west. Now you bring it from the west to the east. This is a challenge that is beyond the human capacity. It's just like when Allah is telling us here in this surah that if He changed the night to continuously be night time until the day of judgment, who is there to change it to make it day and night? Nobody. Nobody can challenge that. So it's the same when He continuously make the night into day. Day only until the day of judgment. There is nobody to change that. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anybody with a thinking mind will come to the conclusion that this is indeed the work of an almighty being. That is not the work of human being. It is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring anything or anyone that become famous to be forgotten completely and put to rest. That is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then through that He will affirm that only Himself will remain. We can give an example here. At the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to have 2 camels. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to have 2 camels. One of them he used for big occasions, like the one he used to perform Hajj. He used one camel to perform Hajj. There is another camel he used to ride when there are some local occasion, something not grandiose, something around the city of Medina or surrounding. And this camel was never beaten by any other camel by race. Until it became very famous, it became known to all the people that this camel of the Prophet ﷺ no other camel can race against it. But then one day a Bedouin came with another camel from his, well trained. He told the Prophet ﷺ that his camel will outrace the camel of the Prophet ﷺ. And the people of Medina there, they were challenging it. They want to see. They said no other camel can outrace the camel of the Prophet ﷺ. So they put the 2 camels to competition, to race. And then the camel of the Bedouin outraced the camel of the Prophet ﷺ. And some of the Sahaba, they were very, very disappointed. Some of them were crying. The Prophet ﷺ told them in an authentic hadith narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari, this is indeed the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything that become famous, anything that raise high, Allah will bring it down and affirm His glory over it. So don't be grieved by a camel being outraced. This is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So nobody is there to remain high and famous except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring them down and affirm His majesty. Only the might and power and the fame of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remain. That's why sometimes we see people becoming very famous in some fields. To a certain time only someone will come and take over from that. They will come with a new idea, new invention, new innovation. And then this other person is no more, is not known anymore about. You just forget them and ignore. Their situation is gone. Their time has passed. But the time of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always remain. That's why we should think about our time here when we are able to reconnect, reroute our activities so that they are in line with the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all time. So we cannot just focus on the race of this dunya and disconnect with the purpose of our life. That is worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The most difficult thing for any Muslim is not to be able to attend a congregational prayer. Is to sit down, you hear the adhan, you cannot respond to the adhan. That is painful. You sit down, you cannot hear the adhan. Or if you hear it, it's telling you to pray at your home. This is painful for a Muslim. That's why we should start reflecting and rerouting ourselves back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through sincere repentance. Sincere repentance. Every one of us should look at our own self, how we are behaving in our daily lives, in our activities, in our relation with other people, in our relation with our employees, in our relation with our neighbors, in relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and reform ourselves. Because this is the time, there is no more challenging moment than when a Muslim is told you cannot perform the rituals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed upon you. And the number one and most important among them is the salat. Is the salat. When a masjid is closed, this is not a small matter. It is a serious thing that every one of us should start reflecting upon. In another set of ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned again in Surah Al-Qasas, He said, وَمِن رَحْمَتِهِ جَعَلَ لَكُمُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ لِتَسْكُنُوا فِيهِ. He said, it is from His mercy, only from His mercy, that He has made for you the day and the night, so that you will find rest and tranquility during the day or the night. وَلِتَبْتَحُوا مِنْ فَضْلِهِ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. And during the night you will take some rest. During the day you will go and look for your provision, so that you will be grateful. You will show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is indeed something we should reflect upon, even though we take that for granted. But this is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gave us the day to look for our provision and the night to take some rest. We take it for granted. We don't even think about it. But if we reflect, we will find that this is indeed from the mercy of Allah, from His rahmah. So we said, if Allah brings us any goodness, none can take it. Nobody can take that goodness except by His own will, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. But if He brings punishment or trials or hardship, nobody can remove it, even if all mankind join together. Today, in every corner of the earth, every lab around the globe is racing to find a cure to this small virus. Through cooperation and help, we still cannot find it, until when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, He will guide us to the cure. As I mentioned earlier, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah did not send down any disease except He will send its cure also. But right now, the cure for the disease is hidden from us. We still don't know. We still to discover it. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, He will grant knowledge and understanding to someone, somewhere. He will come up with a solution to say, this is you use this option, you use this, you use that, and here is the solution. But right now, all mankind is wandering. The believers are raising their hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, asking for protection. The disbelievers are in despair. They are more in fear of this. And for you to realize it, you just need to cough or sneeze. You will see everybody around moving away from you, panicking, worrying. This is the sign that in the heart there is a fear. And this fear is justified. The fear is justified because the heart is not connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A Muslim by default is not worried about death. We are not scared of death per se. Because we know inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. We come from Allah, we return back to Allah. But yet everyone will take precaution. So this helps us to start reflecting and thinking about our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah Al-A'raf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, He gave again our way, give us something to think about, deeper, beyond what we taken for granted. He said, Inna rabbakumullahu allazi khalaqa as-samawati wal arda fi sittati ayyamin summa stawa ala al-arsh. It is certainly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who created these seven heaven. The heaven and the earth, and He settled Himself above His throne. Summa stawa ala al-arsh. And then He mentioned Yukshil Laylan Nahar. He is the one who is following or making the day follow the night, or the night follows the day in succession, that they are following each other. And then He went on to mention that He subjugated the sun, the moon, the stars to His command. Is there any human being able to put those bodies into their own control? Do we control the movement of the sun and the moon? Do we decide, okay, we want the day to continue for another hour and stop the sun from setting? Do we come at a time and say, oh, no, we want to take a little more rest, so prolong the night a little more? No, we don't. Allah is telling us this is His domain. This is His area. Nobody is able to control that. It is all by the command and control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, indeed, your Lord is Allah who created the heaven and the earth in 6 days and then established Himself above the throne. The creation of the heaven and the earth in 6 days, this is not day as per a day we understand it here. It's a translation. But what is the wisdom behind it? Allah could have created these things by just saying kun fayakun, as He commands many other things to happen, and they happen. When He wishes something, innama amruhu iza arada shay'an an yaqula lahu kun fayakun. But when it comes to the creation of the heaven and the earth, He created them in stages over time. What is the wisdom? To show us, the human being, that the mighty things that we will do in our life, we do it gradually over time. We plan for it. We execute through a certain period of time. We don't just do them by the flipping of the finger. And then He covers the night with the day, chasing it rapidly, meaning after the night, the day is coming, after the day, the night is coming. And this is in succession for all the time that mankind has kept record. There is no change on this. And then He said He created the sun and the moon and the stars, subjugated them to His command. Unquestionably, He said, unquestionably, His is the creation. Is anybody who doubts these bodies, celestial bodies, they are the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Anybody can create another earth for us? Is anyone who is going to create another sun for us? Is anyone who is creating stars like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did for us? These are the mighty creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then He said, Tabarakallahu Rabbul Alameen. He said, praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is indeed praiseworthy. Whether we praise Him or not, He is praiseworthy. Now it's up to us to be grateful and recognize that status of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and praise Him. And then in the following ayat, he said, Adu Rabbakum tadarruan, whether call upon your Lord, whether is in situation of humility, wa khufyan, and situation of fear also. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, Inna Allah la yuhibbul mu'tadin. Allah does not like the transgressors, people who purposely go beyond their limit. And we witness that today mankind is indeed going crossing all the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the boundaries are crossed. And He said, وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا. This is a warning. He said, do not go and do mischief on the earth when it has been set right. What it implies, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He sent him the message of truth and guidance with clear sign, calling people to abandon all kind of idol worship and worship in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He set the record straight. He called upon us to stop worshiping other human beings who are needy like us. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam established that in the mind of the people, and he invited his companion to pass that message to generation and generation and generation until it reaches us here. But today, in our time, we see people going back to the idol worship, going and committing the mischief. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us here, وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا. Do not do mischief on the earth when it has been set straight. The earth was set straight by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companion, and those who came after them. They established the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the worship of Allah in a clear and systematic way. But we are coming with our innovations, with our bid'ah, with our newly invented matters to corrupt this clear and pure message of Tawheed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has brought. He said, وَدْعُوهُ خَوْفًا وَطَمْعًا. Call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in fear and in hope. Are we today in fear as human beings? Yes, we are in fear. Do we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will change this situation? Yes, we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to do anything. By His might, He will change this situation. Surely He will bring a solution to this crisis. Life will come back to normal. That's why we don't lose hope. We call upon Allah in fear and in hope. Whether we are in fear that this infection will continue to affect our lives, it will continue to affect the lives of our neighbors, of other people we care about. It will change the economic landscape of the world. It will shift powers. Yes, this all may happen. But we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always having the ultimate decision, and the command is with Allah. So we call upon Allah whether in hope or in fear. We Muslims, we have this hope. There is no way we let this fear overcome us that we will go and do something beyond. We'll do something beyond what Allah has prescribed for us. Our role, what we have to do is to remain patient. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is finishing that ayat from Surah Al-Araf, ayat number 56. He said, Inna rahmatallahi qarib min al-muhsinin. Inna rahmatallahi qarib min al-muhsinin. Certainly, the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is near for those who are the doers of good. Here, there is a concept. We know we have the Muslims, we have the Mu'min, and the Muhsin. And if we go back to the hadith of Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam, we learn that Islam has been built upon three layers. Number one is Islam. Number two is Iman. Number three is Ihsan. Ihsan is the third level and the highest form a human being, a Muslim, will be connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the highest level. We say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has invited all mankind to Islam. All mankind to Islam. This is the purpose of the creation, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in submission in Islam. But then we have the second category, that is having Iman. Iman with its 6 articles of faith and 6 articles of belief. Islam with its 5 pillars as known. But then Ihsan with 1 pillar but higher than Islam and Iman. So the invitation is to all mankind to enter the fold of Islam. The Muslims to raise their level from being simple Muslims to have higher Iman, to strengthen their Iman. And those who have Iman is to raise their level to the level of Ihsan. Collectively, when these 3 categories calls upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will respond with His rahmah. Allah will respond with His rahmah. So the purpose of any trial, any test, is for us to start thinking again, use our reasoning capacity to reconnect back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through these 3 levels. Any Muslim out there should strive to strengthen their Islam to have higher level of Iman. Anybody who is already having high level of Iman should push their level to perfection, that is Ihsan. And we said if all these categories collectively call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will bring about solution to all the problem mankind is facing. So this is a reminder we should all use. This is a time we should all use when we are in isolation. Remember that the Prophet ﷺ used to seclude himself from the mischief of society of his time, and he went to the cave of Hira, reflecting, pondering, analyzing what is the purpose of his creation. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his messenger to the Prophet ﷺ, that is Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam, who brought the message of Islam to the Prophet ﷺ. And we all know the story, the first revelation and subsequent revelation and so forth. So this is the time every one of us should start reflecting. And the best way to reflect is to read the Qur'an. Read and understand, because reading the Qur'an only without understanding will not serve the purpose. It will only give you the discipline to follow the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you understand what you have been commanded to do. And these commands, they don't come through our emotions. They come through the understanding according to the understanding of the first generation of the Muslims. It's not through personal connection through dreams or just feelings that I have to do this and then you do it. No, we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala following the set of rituals that He has commanded His messenger to convey to us. So we hope this will serve every one of us as a reminder to start reflecting upon the qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that everything is under His own control. That we human beings, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Qur'an, we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya ayyuhan nas antumul fuqara. O mankind, antumul fuqara, you are the one in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Antumul fuqara ilallah, wallahu wal ghaniyul hamid. Allah is free from any need. Now it is up to us to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, worship Him as we are ordered to worship Him, or we will persist in our transgression. If Allah wills, He can replace us by a new creation, and this is something easy for Him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us goodness, forgive us our shortcoming. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless those who infected with this virus with a cure. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect those who are not infected. May Allah guide us to understand to a good solution to this cure and every other cure, whether it's a physical disease or mental disease, whether a disease from outside or a disease of the heart. Ameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My Allah is the one, the one, the one.